and then I can always go and chop this up if anything.
Yep. Yeah. Get the highlights from it.
Yeah, well, that's what I plan on doing. Yeah. Yo, fam, Coach Sam, Strong Gents Coaching. I'm here with Coach Tom, and we're going to start a podcast together and just kind of go over certain things that the young men's demographic can deal with and use on a daily basis to improve their life. So you're going to hear some cool conversations from us, just general topics, our own shared experiences, and then our education for you guys as well. So we're also just going to have some banter and some fun on this podcast to make it easy to watch. So before we get into the strong stuff, Coach Tom went on a pretty cool workout today. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what you were doing?
That's right. I want to say hello to Sam, Trainer Sam. What's up, my man?
That's right.
That's it. Strong every day. Today, 2 weeks from today, April 2nd, doing a great event in New York City with my main Ruckin' Man gym. It's a 26-mile Go Ruck event. And if you're not familiar with Go Ruck, they're the number one and premier company in promoting rucking, which is, a offshoot of a military term, my rucksack. And taking that activity of military training and then having it become a new type of workout activity. And I happen to love it. And, in short, rucking is hiking or walking with a weighted backpack. And, it may sound, Jim and I say this all the time, right? It may sound like it's not that difficult. And, but it's a grind. So,
it's a grind, and it gives an appreciation to the people who serve our country and carry 80 pounds, 60 pounds, walk for
absolutely
days, walk staircases, carrying people. So it's cool. We did it 2 years ago together, 26 miles, 40 pounds, 8 miles in the sand on the Jersey Shore. It was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a new appreciation for the people who put in some hard work.
Absolutely. And, it's a great activity. Get out there. It's low impact, but weight bearing, right? And so it's easy on the joints, but it's weight bearing. And so you burn some calories, and it's a lot better for you than walking, although walking's great too. Nothing wrong with walking. But if you want to add a little bit and have a little bit more weight bearing type exercise and burn a few more calories, rucking is great exercise to do.
Just to add to that really quick, one, just for the fitness, I think one's not better than the other. They just offer different stimulus to the body, so different benefits. So a good thing about rucking is people, for your situation, where it is lower intensity in terms of the complexity of it, so there's less risk of injury, but it also induces the same response to your muscles and bones. So when you age, your bones start to decay, you get osteoporosis, osteopenia, especially in females. So a way to delay that process, or even pause that process from happening, is by weight bearing. And the easy way to do that is through rucking in various forms, whether it's short distance where you're carrying weights in your hands, farmers carries, you're carrying a backpack in the form of rucking. So yeah, you're right. It is very beneficial. So for anybody out there who, is kind of afraid to get hurt, but you're suffering with bone loss, especially women, don't be afraid of going and carrying around some heavy weight to get the same results.
Absolutely. And, we did 18 miles today, 20 pounds. We rucked 20 pounds because that's what the minimum weight requirement for this particular Go Ruck event is. And it's going to be in New York City. We don't know the route yet. It's kind of a cool part of it. We're going to meet at 6 a.m. is our meetup point at the Vietnam Memorial Museum in Lower Manhattan. And that's when we're going to get, kind of what our route is. So we did 18 miles today, over 5.5 hours. Took some breaks, which are necessary when you ruck. But it's a commitment, like 5.5 hours, like that's almost 3/4 of a workday for most people. And we're walking around with 20 pounds, so. I posted a short video about that today, and I do on my Instagram page, promoting our Strong Gents program. And my message today was, there's no magic pill, to take. There's no magic. Okay. You just do it. Right. So, You know, a lot of people say, well, you're a very motivating guy. Like I rucked with two guys today that, you know, one's in his, you know, upper 30s, later 30s. And the other one, my good friend Jim, is early 40s. And I'm in my late 50s. Okay. And, you know, they ask me like, yeah, like, how do you do this? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is just what I've always done. Like, I don't see age. Like, you know, I see the group of us is the same age, you know, so, you know, you just do it. You just do it. If that's what you want to do, you prioritize. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
really fired up about this. I'm really fired up about it.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Something cool to do. Definitely an event that's, you know, time consuming, but it's worth the time. It's gratifying. It gives you something at the end of it. It takes a. I like doing events like that. Like when I did the 50-mile run straight, it took a piece of me. Like in a good way. Like it's always going to be a part of me. It took energy, it took time, it took a piece of my life, but it doesn't matter. It was well spent. And I think that things like that, especially rucking, like if you could find a group of dudes, right? Like you found a group of dudes and you can go do this stuff together, the camaraderie, the backpacking off each other, the support. I mean, it's inexpensive, it's priceless. It's something that you need as a man in life, is to be able to find men who like doing similar things as you, maybe not have the exact mindset as you, but you guys feed off each other's mindsets, and it progresses you, it keeps you going, even when things get uncomfortable. I think that's like one of the greatest things in the world, is doing that.
It is awesome, man. It is awesome. You know, like, you know, I don't have any problem, personally, you know, motivating myself working out, on my own. So I do a lot of my workouts on my own. And I understand, you know, there's a lot of people that like that group type of motivation, and that's fine. There's nothing like that. Like having fun while you are having a great workout, like those two things together, okay, just add up to, wow, like I like this. I want to keep this going. Like we had such a wonderful time today. Like I didn't even look at it as a 5.5 hour workout. I looked at it as 5.5 hour time spent with my friends that we caught up. We spoke about so many things, and we talked about, especially towards the end, you know, about the last, you know, like the first half, the first 9 miles is fun, you know, it's cool, and it's easy. And then, but the last 9 miles, the last 3 miles, it's a grind. And we're like, this is a grind. This is a grind. That's right. We can do this thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and then we're thinking about in 2 weeks, wow, like, okay, we're about to finish 18 miles. We got eight more to go in 2 weeks, you know, and we're planning about that. Like how we feel and how we're going to do this next week. So it's just energizing. I just can't get enough of this. You know, it keeps me going. I love this stuff, you know, and that's why I want to, that with Strong Gents, you know, we have a message, and I always say, you know, it is what it is. I'm a motivation millionaire, you know, and it's coming out of my pores. And if I can give some of mine to someone else, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of just walking the walk and talking the talk, you know, you are the guy. I mean, like people will learn more about your personal story, you know, just from these episodes and the questions that I ask, questions that people ask. But you know, you've just being your son, I know more than everybody, but you live a hard life and you're still at it every day. I mean, at the end of the day, like everybody wants that internal motivation, and some people are born with it, I believe, more than others. But at the end of the day, I think anybody can build on that willpower and that motivation. I think it starts with accepting the fact that being uncomfortable and suffering a little bit is kind of part of the journey. Like the rucking, like you said, it was kind of cool in the first 9 miles, but after that, the second 9 miles is a little bit more suffering. But then when you finish, like you come out gratified, you come out stronger, and the people you're with, you guys suffered a little bit together. And I use that word suffering, it might not be the right one, but I'm going to stick with it. And it made you guys closer, right? So I think if young men especially can accept the fact that, like, especially in the early years, like I wish I knew this when I was a little younger, that like some forms of discomfort is part of the ride of becoming an individual, becoming a man, and not having, you know, and not being babied so much. I think physical training is a good stepping stone to learning that. I don't know if you have any
Yeah.
comments on that, but I think just pushing the body and becoming uncomfortable can get you to a better mind state.
One of the issues, you know, we were talking about before we came on here tonight, we were talking about COVID and you know, some of the the fallout from COVID with individuals, with people, and now that we're getting back to normal, but what I found through these 2 years of COVID, is that unfortunately people become soft. They have become, like they can't stand any discomfort. And unfortunately, a lot of parents,
I think before you go, I think soft and complacent can go hand in hand, those two words. Like I think maybe some people are still hard, but they're complacent, So
here's the thing, you know what I mean? Like everything's not going to be comfortable. And so in COVID, okay, we've attempted to make things as comfortable as possible for everyone and say, what, like with let's use the mask, for example, right?
Yeah, go
Okay,
for it.
no one like used the mask or whatever. People, they make political points on it, whatever, fine. Okay, this is not about politics. This is about it is what it is. So if there's a mask rule or executive order or whatever it is, like, so I work in a public school, right? So public schools had an executive order to wear them. So you had to, okay? So it's kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, if we have to, we might not like it. Maybe we think it's wrong, whatever, but, we can do it, right? If we have to, we can do it. Unfortunately in COVID, it's some things like, well, we're just too uncomfortable, like, and we're not supposed to be uncomfortable and we just can't do it, so.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback on that with me and my brother Wade, we personal trainers. And during the whole pandemic, especially the mask heavy portion of it, we were working, we still work long days, but 12-hour day in a mask for 12 hours straight 12 hours straight in a mask, right?
Yeah.
We got people coming in complaining, and we sometimes, someone cancels, you work out on your shift, there's other people there, you still got to wear your mask. So 12 hours in a mask, working out in a mask for a year, at least a year, more than a year.
Yeah.
You still have to wear it sometimes, because at the end of the day, whether I like it or not, if someone really wants me to wear a mask, I'll wear it because it's a service business. Now, do I think that's a whole other side is my opinion on it, but it doesn't matter. The point is I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways. And I did it for 12 hours, and people would come in and complain about working out in a mask or having to wear a mask for an hour, right? So in my mind, you're right, soft is a good word, but also just selfish, right? I think it's selfish, right? So like, woe me. And I think that happens a lot right now, is this woe me. It's always woe me, when it's like, think about the bigger picture now. Like, what are you really complaining about? And I think COVID, was a catalyst for people to have this like look on their life where it was like woe me, and they just want things to happen for them instead of going out and building on things. And maybe that's a weird thing, but
well, I think that, I have this theory, being a counselor for over 30 years, a therapist dealing with people, and also being a football coach for a long time and stuff like that, that generally speaking, now this is a general statement, okay, that human beings, okay, naturally gravitate towards what's easiest.
Oh, 100%.
Okay? So if the situation like in COVID, all right, where I had to stay home, okay, for whatever reason, like the bars were shut down, the restaurants were shut down, so I'm home. So now I'm going to gravitate to what's easiest, which is playing my video games all the time, or eating bad, or not getting exercise in, because I gravitate towards what's easiest, So, I've fought, I'm not going to say I fought that. I've been aware of that all my life, and I'm a human being. And sometimes I gravitate towards what's easiest, but it's rare, I kind of recognize it. And, but, you don't have to do that. You can make a choice. Like today, I made a choice. Okay, I have a goal, and I made a choice to spend 5.5 hours on my feet walking 18 miles with 20 pounds on my back. Okay, it may sound a lot to people who are listening to this, but to me, it's not. It's not that much. It's kind of like, I gravitate towards things that are uncomfortable because I want to conquer them. You know what I mean? Because it makes me feel good.
It not only just makes you feel good, though. Like, that's a real thing. Like when you were saying. If you backtrack real quick, sorry, someone texted me, so I lost my track of thought. You were saying things uncomfortable in COVID, right? Yes. So staying at home and all that stuff. And yes, so I believe that goes back to what we were saying, and like the suffering is actually good, because what you've seen is when people are too comfortable, the rate of suicide, the rate of alcoholism, the rate of depression from the last 3 years has skyrocketed through the roof. And people have been technically more comfortable than ever before. They got DoorDash, they don't have to
Right.
cook. They got Instacart, they don't have to cook.
Right.
They, they've been at home playing video games. They didn't have to go to work. They don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
They're getting free money. Like things are
And
just comfortable.
and another big temptation, okay, is online gambling is just another human temptation that's a fingertip away, and
So
it's just
you're right. So everything's been at everybody's fingertips. Even though COVID's been terrible, it's not just run
right.
past the disease part of it. And in the beginning, the fear response was great, granted to everybody. It's scary that you have a virus that can take you out. But things have changed. There's medicines out there, and so things have changed. So why are people staying in that same realm of living? Like we
Right.
especially I
Well,
feel like young guys, it's so I think it comes to avoiding, and I use the term suffering, but it could just be discomfort. So how do you
well,
get someone motivated to choose the path, to stop choosing the path of least resistance and
well,
start
yeah.
taking on some challenges?
I think, a big part of that is awareness, right? And then, and when you become aware of what that's all about, then challenge yourself to make a choice. So it's quite common among therapists, counselors to recognize that people, even if they don't like their present state of affairs, their present situation, okay, and you can take that as a marriage, a relationship, their life, their physical self, whatever. Although they may not like it, okay, the change, the stress of the unknown, the stress of change is so great for some of them. They prefer their known misery,
Yes.
okay, the comfort in their known misery instead of taking these small risks and changing, because that's hard, okay, even though the change may be better for them, okay, change is stressful. Even good change is stressful, right? And so, even though they might feel like they need to make changes, they're comfortable in their present situation, which is not a great one. So how do you get over that hump? It's first is awareness, and then challenging yourself. Like, do I want to remain in my present state where I don't like my life right now? I want to be
And
different.
I think that since we coach young men, I think to speak to that demographic, the number one way to begin challenging yourself is physically. You got a physical body, and overcoming physical obstacles and learning that you can overcome things, become stronger, and change your physical body will give you not only confidence but an unconscious a
Yep.
subconscious feeling and energy that you can accomplish other things in life, whether it be in business, whether it be in relationships, things like that. You have a better aura around you. But I think it's important to realize that if you don't have that internal motivation to push that next quarter mile or to climb the next flight of stairs or to lift the 10 more pounds, someone to do it, help you through that is very important, because like we do choose the path of least resistance. And I see that all the time in my personal training business when someone stops at 8 reps when they got 14 more in the tank just because
Right.
they're uncomfortable. So having someone there to push them to the next level benefits their growth, and then that growth leads the gym into other areas of their life.
Right.
So
So
in terms of young men, the physical fitness aspect, because coronavirus kind of put them on inside the house, has kind of been neglected. So I think if you're a young man, you're watching this video, like, you have to start physically first. You have to.
and I think that I also agree with that. And physical is one of the first places to start. So I did a lesson the other night for Strong Gents guys, and it was on responsibility and self-discipline. And so, I really am putting this lesson together, and reflecting on my life, my coaching, my counseling and stuff. You would think like, hey, like, what's the point? How do I get more self-discipline? Right? Well, I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to do this, but how do I do that? But this is a really good point when it comes to COVID and how people started to live, because of COVID, more irresponsible lives. They're becoming less responsible. So what do I mean? They didn't keep a good sleep-wake schedule. They stayed up too late, maybe playing video games very late, and then getting up late in the morning. And then their diet wasn't good. Or, if they're a young man living at home, someone else is doing everything for them, their laundry or their shopping or their cooking, And so, to me, say, how do you become more self-disciplined? Well, first, you have to make a commitment to say, I need to live a more responsible life. I need to start getting up on time. Okay. Start, doing my own laundry, maybe start shopping for my own food, start working out, taking responsible for my body. But to start to live before you can even develop self-discipline, that will come. First, you have to make a decision to be more responsible, make more responsible choices with how I live my life day to day. And then I will become self-disciplined in that as I, each day I make movement towards my goal, and then you will become self-disciplined. But you have to make a decision to be more responsible for your life,
And I think,
so
just to piggyback on that a lot of people do things for a long period of time unconsciously without realizing it's causing a problem. So whether it's drinking or smoking or a video game addiction or gambling, they kind of create a schema in their head where they put a false narrative up where, oh, like a couple more times isn't that bad, or it's not that bad. But I think in terms of becoming responsible, you got to look at yourself and realize you have a problem when you, let's say, drink too much and the next morning you wake up and you regret the night, right? I think that is, so if somebody can have that aha moment, it might give them the motivation to start doing things differently. So if no one's there to point it out, like, what do you say to someone who has no idea, right? They don't have anybody telling them to stop, drinking or staying up till 4 a.m. Or even if they do have someone telling them, it just didn't click yet. You think that's just individual? You think it just clicks for people? You think it comes when they wake up and they're like, well, yep, I regret everything I did last night. What do you think?
well, I mean, I think it depends, what's your situation? Like, are you living at home with your parents? Or a young man, because all parents are different. One of the things I say in my counseling situations, when I hear that, parents are a little bit lax and they have an adult kid living at home, and the adult kid may be doing some of the things that we had discussed, and the parents waiting for, well, I hope he gets it. You know what I mean? I hope he starts getting up on time. I hope the light bulb goes off. And, I look at a kid, I said, you're going to mess up a good situation. I'm like, you don't want to come home. I'm like, you don't want to come home with me. I said, that's one thing. You don't want to come home with me. I mean, I actually had parents, believe this is a true story, right? For one of my clients, talking about a son, adult son living at home, probably 24 at the time, 24, 25. And they said, he worked a swing shift, meaning he would get home. His job would end at 11 p.m. Everybody's in bed, and he would come home and kind of be awake, right? So that's normal. Like you end at 11 p.m., you come home at 11:30, you eat, you're up for a while, right? So he had a different schedule. So being self-absorbed, he would eat and then go on his PlayStation and go on, live PlayStation, playing live, video games, whatever that may be, and have his earphones in. So he would get excited during the game and start like shouting in the middle of the night, waking everyone up. And they said, Tom, what should we do? And I said, is that a trick question? I'm like, is that a trick question? I'm like, whose house is that? They're like, well, it's our house. I'm like, all right. Are you asking me what I would do? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, listen, I said, I'm not going to tell my son not to play video games as a 24, 25-year-old at home in the middle of the night. If that's what he wants to do, as long as he gets up in the morning, he's productive, it's his life. You know what I mean? Like, everything's fine. Okay. You want to have less sleep, but still be productive, fine. But if he's waking me up, that's a totally different story. So I would say it once. I say, listen, no more. If you can't be quiet to these video games, I got to get to sleep. I go to work in the morning. And they said, and that's not, what if he didn't do it? I said, if he didn't do it, the next time he did it, when he wasn't home, I'd go into his room, pull the set up, go over to the second floor balcony and throw it off into the driveway and bust it into a million freaking pieces. That's what I would do. And they're like, oh, I'm like, it's your house. You got to get up for work. What are you teaching him?
That's it's funny you say, because when I was growing up, me and you had it out sometimes, and you would take away the game station sometimes, and you'd always, I don't know if you broke it one time, maybe, but you always said you broke it, and then it showed.
I don't think I broke.
And then it showed up again. You would always like say, "Oh, I was gonna smash it," and it would be gone, and then it would come back. It would show up again like a week later. But for the people listening, our neighbor, the Gracias, one of my best friends, Dylan, and his father Glenn, we were in his basement playing video games, and his father asked him to do a couple chores before he got home from work. And he gets home from work, and we're drinking some soda, and we're just hanging out, and we didn't do any of the chores. And he walks over, and we're still playing video games, and he rips the thing out of the wall. He brings it to the driveway. He grabs a baseball bat, and he smashes it to 1,000 pieces right in front of our faces. And then he made us clean it up. That is how you handle a situation like that. And you want to know what he did after that? A couple months later, he bought him a new one after he started doing chores. That's, in my opinion, a good way to handle situations. So it's just funny that, you're mentioning that, and I got to witness it firsthand, not just from you, even though you didn't break it, but from a neighbor of mine who didn't, I don't know if he talked to you or not, but he broke the system. It was hilarious. Now that I look back at it, it was hilarious.
Yeah. So I mean, but the point is that some young men, unfortunately, their parents are people too. You know what I mean? Everybody's different, right? And some parents don't set firm limits or boundaries, or can have those conversations with their kids, those tough conversations, and they wait, and then it's a screaming match, and then nothing happens, and then the same cycle continues. So Strong Gents is a program, okay, where we can help you, okay, put a little kick into your step, okay, kick yourself in the butt a little bit, okay, and give you the juice, the mojo, okay, on a daily basis. We got so much stuff out here, and these are the lives that we lead, and like I said, if I can share, we talked about living a life, and, if I can share with someone else and it's going to improve their life, that's meaning something to me, right? So, I'm a firm believer in, what are you leaving behind, right? Because no one's going to remember how much money you had in your bank account when you die, right? No one's going to remember that, right? So, but what are you leaving behind? What are you going to be remembered for? That doesn't mean that money's not good and we don't need money. Yes, we do need money. But if you live just to make money and that's it, like, what's the point? Like, okay, so no one's going to remember what you did, so I feel passionate about this and motivated about this to help people improve their life. I know I can't do it, but I can influence, and I can be a good mentor and role model, because this is how I do it. And
I mean, obviously, I'm the one who started this thing. The reason I brought you on is because you're the number one guy in the world to help young men. I know that for a fact because I'm your son. And I've had a challenging life. You've seen my life, and especially in my early 20s, it's a rough time. That's a time where you're contemplating a lot of things. You don't really know what you want to do, and you feel lost. And someone like me is I have zero family for the most part. I have a physical illness that is very rare, and that was very compromising, especially considering the line of work I went into. And
we didn't know what it was for the longest time, and that makes it worse.
10 years undiagnosed, which made it even worse because I was getting called crazy, and I knew I wasn't crazy, but it made me a better trainer. The fact that I sat up reading 500-page medical textbooks at night to learn this stuff. I'm a wealth of knowledge at this point when it comes to the body and how it operates and functions. So it made me a better trainer. But point being is I started this program because I suffered from anxiety, depression, lack of purpose, lack of direction. And my own worst enemy was myself. And and from personal training now for so long, I've trained so many young men, and I see my old self in them. And I got out of it just from pure willpower, and then other people helping me along the way that I didn't even realize were helping me. But I look back and, like, you were huge in that catalyst for my change in how my life was going. But I know for a fact that what's missing in this world is a program or a system to help young men break through that existential crisis in that mid-early 20s to make them better men. Because this world, let me tell you something. It drives me crazy with this toxic masculinity topic and all this stuff about men being terrible, bad human beings. That is a complete false narrative. Okay, men are so important for this world, just as women are. Okay, we're equal in terms of importance. But once you start hammering people down and you don't let them live up to what they're supposed to be, like men are builders. We are creators. We are We are, yes, sometimes aggressive, but we get things done. But if you can channel all those parts of a man into a straight line and a good path, and you're building somebody who can create something good in this world. I mean, the world, you don't even think about some of the things that mostly men do. Like, my lights are on right now. You want to know who fixed these lights up? A guy. He was a male man. He was a male who came in there and fixed the lights up. You want to know who did my plumbing last week? A male. You want to know who came and hooked up my cable? A male. You want to know who was building this before I moved in? A male. We don't really think about these things, but the simplest thing, like you're running water, usually is a guy. Now, not to say women can't do this, but men have lost, I think, for the past 5 or so years, this, like, they've been hammered down and they're afraid to express themselves. And young men, like, they don't know what to do. Like, they go to school, the parents want them to do something, society's telling them not to do it, they're afraid to do, just to be themselves. So I wanted to create a program where I could take the best people in the world and help them become the best version of themselves, the strongest version of themselves.
It's
And
awesome.
I don't think
Fired up.
any other program out there that offers what we offer in terms of knowledge, a system, and a route, and putting people on a good path. So extremely passionate about it. I mean, I'm more passionate about this than anything else I've ever done in my life. And I'm an extremely passionate person. I mean, you don't work 15 hours a day for years and years and years without being passionate. So 7 days a week.
Sure.
So,
it's true.
Extremely passionate.
I always say, and you can try to avoid it, but you can't. I always say life comes at you no matter what. Okay, so life's going to keep coming at you. So if times are good, it's awesome, man. Like, that's all good times. But you know what? Life's going to keep coming at you. So those times could change. Is life bad? Well, life's bad a lot of times, but you know what? Life keeps coming at you. You know what I mean? So times can change. So a constant is going to be, life's going to keep coming at you. And you can hide in your bedroom for a while, but those days are going to end.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I think, just in another way to look at it is, like, we are limited beings living in an unlimited world in terms of time, right? So, in terms of our abilities, like, our abilities are limited, but the universe's abilities are technically unlimited. We don't really know the limits of them. So there's always a challenge at our disposal, not only just in our limit of time, but our limit of resources, our limit of knowledge. So no matter where you are in life, you could think you have a handle on things, but because you're limited and life is unlimited, it could throw something at you that you have never seen before, you don't have the tools for, and therefore puts you in this chaotic spiral into whatever emotion that you're dealing with, or whatever route you go in. And you have to learn how to navigate those roads. And especially as a young man in your early 20s, early 30s, you're going to come across those times way more than you think.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah. And one of the things, like with Strong Gents, like I always thought, there's you have to take some risks, and there's small risks and there's big risks, but taking a risk to change, like, getting involved in Strong Gents is a low risk. It's low risk. Like, you have substantial to get so much information and so much motivation to help you take a next step. It's low risk, and taking these small risks in your life, because a lot of times guys just think about all or nothing. Like, everything's this big risk, so I don't do it. No, that's not right. Not everything isn't a big risk. You know what I mean? So, but take a lot of little risks and add them together, and you're going to start, you might see some change, and that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking to help these guys with, and we have helped guys with that, and we're going to continue to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I'm a firm believer in taking risks. I mean, I've been taking risks my entire life. I have not walked the normal path that most people do. I'm more of an outlier, and that's not to say it's the right thing. It's just what I chose. But I'm good at taking risks. That's just my personality. I take risks, and I don't believe I don't believe that you search for the right answer. I believe you create the right answer when you take on a risk, right? So you work hard enough to make it work. And I think if young men had a support system, which is what we do at Strong Gents, they would be more willing to take those smaller risks, right? Because a lot of times, and I've experienced this before, young men, they might want to do something, right? But then you have that controlling parent, maybe, or family figure who's, he's always on that side where it's like, maybe you shouldn't do it, like, play the safe side. Not to say that's wrong, but sometimes from the closest people around you, their perspective of your abilities and who you are might not actually be true to what you know it is. And then they have this perspective because of their life that you should play it safe because they think they know the outcome, but they don't know the outcome and they don't know you and they don't know what you're really capable of. But if you can find someone externally, whether it's a therapist, a coach, a teacher, a Strong Gents Coaching group, whatever the case may be, who can show you that you do have the potential and just give you the plan to make it happen, your life can completely change. I mean, the amount of risk people don't take just because they're scared of the repercussions, and we're talking small scale right now, it's insanity.
Right. And one of the things I will say that in my own life that really impacted me a lot, and I never realized this would happen, but in work settings where I was exposed to and I befriended older guys, okay, that I looked up to and became friends with and learned a lot of stuff from them, their experience. Still friends with them today. One of my best friends is 15 years older than me. And I am doing the same very thing to like a guy today who's 15 years younger than me, my man Jim, who I ruck with, and he looks up to me as a mentor a lot of times in some situations, and it's so important for men. It's so important, but you can't find those guys, if you're not getting out there and getting at it and going to the gym and meeting people. Like, when I was at the gym, I don't go to the gym anymore. I lift at home and all, but when I used to go to the gym, that's where guys would talk between sets and they get to know each other, and that's a great place to get to know an older guy, because they have so much to offer a guy that's 10, 15 years older than you. And and because they all have stories, right? We all have stories.
Listen, I have I
and-
train clients who are in their 70s, 80s years old. I've gone out with them before, like they are my friends, and I've learned so much from those guys, and they're my clients. They pay for my service, but it doesn't matter. You still create a bond. And so you're right. I mean, why would you want to struggle? Like, let's put this into perspective, right? Let's say that you're 20 years old, right? And you want to learn how to make $1 million, right? You could try and just do it on your own, or, you could go to the gym and start talking to somebody and find out that this guy who's 70, he made $1 million when he was 30 years old. How'd he do it? He would be more than happy to explain how you could possibly do it, right? It's a shortcut. It's a shortcut. Same thing with like the physical training. If you go to the gym, you don't know what you're doing, ask someone who looks like they know what they're doing. It's a shortcut to success. And that's what this program is for younger guys.
Right.
It's a shortcut.
So Sam, so it's interesting. I just thought of that. So on this topic of older guys and being out there and talking to them and stuff, why don't you share, how you came to meet your brother Wade?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good point. So I worked part-time at a counseling center, right? Where you worked at as well as a therapist. And I worked running the front desk, handling insurance and scheduling money and all that stuff. It was an awesome job. I learned a lot about just the administrative side of things. But during my time there was a guy who came in. His name was Barney, and he was a character. We're talking old school Italian guys smoking cigars in the parking lot. 66. Smoking cigars in the parking lot when he pulled up in his Escalade. I mean, the dude was hysterical. Slick back, gray hair, comes in, gold chains and watches. But he was the nicest guy. He was the nicest guy. He was like your grandpa. Everywhere, just like everywhere you went, he was probably someone's grandpa, right? And I talked to him for maybe 5 minutes, and twice on 2 occasions, I think, maybe 3. And he asked me a couple questions. We were just shooting the shit, and he was like, is this your full-time job? And I said, no, I'm a personal trainer in my part-time job. He was like, oh, awesome. I have a personal trainer also, right? That was that. Didn't talk to him again for 3 years. We're talking 3 years. Did not talk to this guy. I get a random phone call from a random number. I don't answer. It goes to voicemail, right? And the voicemail says, yo, Sam, this is Barney. I got a job for you. Call me back. I did not remember who Barney was, and I thought the guy was crazy, but I called him back. And he remembered me because I gave him a smile. I gave him a good personality, and I was respectful to him, and I connected to him just on a man-to-man level. The age didn't matter. We were talking about his grandkids. We were talking about working out. We were just shooting the shit inside the office before we went in for his appointment. And it turns out That job that he offered me, I've been there for over 4 years now, and it's been the best job I've ever had. And me and my brother Wade, who ended up hiring me, turns out we have the coolest friendship and business partnership of all time, and that comes from 10 minutes of talking to somebody who at
Right.
the time was a random guy to me,
Right.
but it's just
And
someone who's older.
if you weren't like that, this would have never happened. Like your life would have taken a different turn, right? So if you
Absolutely.
weren't like that, you would have missed that opportunity, which was a good opportunity, unbeknownst to you. You didn't know that an opportunity was there, but we never know when an opportunity is there. So you always want to, be prepared to like Sam did, to do your best and to treat people the right way and to get to know people and to put yourself out there. Like what Sam did, although it was part of his job, he took a real small risk in engaging with this guy a little bit more than, oh, hi, yeah, you're here. Here's your appointment. Okay, I got you. He engaged him. He didn't have to. He took a small risk to get to know him a little bit more.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. You're right.
yeah, and
You're 100% right. A lot of people in that situation would have just checked them in and went on their phone, right? But I put my phone down, and because I'm a believer in service, right? So I try and give a good service, and people come back and they remember a good thing about you. That's just what I've always believed in. Is what I continue to believe in. I think that's why I'm super successful in what I do now. Or partially, besides just the knowledge and skill aspect, I think that has something to do with it, is caring about people. But I gave him attention, right? People like that, and I gave him a smile. And it's so funny because your best friend Greg, he said something when I was like, I think I had to be like 16 years old, and I never forgot it. I never forgot it. We we
what do you
were
say?
we were outside the house at Molly Pitcher, right? And for those of you who want to know, Molly Pitcher is the name of the street that I grew up on.
In Freehold Township, New Jersey.
And he just came over to chill, and he was all like, he was dressed nice and his hair was done and all. And I remember asking him like, yo, why the hell is your hair done on a Saturday at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you just came over to clean up the garage or something? He looked me dead in the eyes and he was like, Sam, you never know who you're gonna meet. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that. And to this day, if I know I'm going somewhere where I might not know people, I try
Yeah,
and present myself just because of that one comment. He probably doesn't
yeah.
even know that stuck with me.
We gotta tell him and remind. I saw him yesterday. We gotta remind him.
That's hilarious. I mean, you got to know that he does that. Did you know that?
You told me that before. I didn't remember it till you just mentioned it
Yeah.
again. But yeah, yeah.
But no, but
Funny
it's just
stuff.
it's a good point because it's like
It
you
is.
might not know who's watching, right? Or you might not know who knows
Yeah,
somebody that might help you. But if you give somebody a good impression, they might reach out to somebody or they might end up calling you like Barney
yeah,
called me 3 years later. I think those little details are freaking important.
yeah. Something that and maybe we can end on this. Um, Something my high school football coach said and always said, and I remember to this day, and yeah, and I do live my life this way. Such a great guy. And he used to say, I don't believe in luck. He says, the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And it's funny that the people who are most prepared always seem to be lucky, right? Everybody's like, well, he got so lucky. Well, he was prepared. So luck, you make your own luck by being prepared. Okay, luck is when preparation and opportunity, those two roads cross. So
I agree
when you are
100%.
when you are prepared, okay, you always want to be in a state of preparedness, okay, because you never know, as Greg said to you, Sam, you never know what opportunity may present itself at any given moment in your life, right? So that is wisdom that I have carried with me now. I'm 58, and I got that wisdom when I was 15. From my
Yeah,
head
listen, it's
football
true.
coach.
Just to piggyback off of that, once again, with the personal training aspect side of things, when somebody comes into the gym and they're trying to lose weight and they're struggling, right? Most of the time it's because they're failing to prepare. It really is. They're failing to prepare their food, their workouts, failing to prepare their schedule, whether they got kids, they're busy. And they look at somebody else who has had progress and they're like, well, give me what they're doing. I want to do what they're doing. I'm like, well, what they're doing is preparing their day. That you're not preparing. They think these people are lucky, but it's not luck. It's preparation and taking control of the opportunity, taking advantage of the opportunity that's given to you. And so I think when on a smaller scale, just not talking in terms of luck in life, like if you have the smallest goal in the world, if you just prepare one step better than you did to get it, you'll get there faster. It's just it. It's something simple.
I agree. I agree. You know, I think that's I think that's a great way to end tonight. And be prepared. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. And this was a great talk tonight.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm going to end on my saying, which is train your life to change your life. I'm a true believer that you can train the smallest aspects of your life every single day in order to change it for the better. If you would like some coaching, if you're between the ages of 18 and 30, and you would like some coaching from some very, very knowledgeable and experienced gentlemen, feel free to reach out to us either on Facebook or you can email us at stronggentscoaching@gmail.com. We are accepting new enrollees, and we can get you started on a better path as soon as possible. All right, we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good.